has arrived and he's making his way to the podium, or rather to the room, so that we can start the day. In a few minutes, they will be getting in. Just a quick housekeeping rule. Washrooms are towards my left. However, please do not use either of the first 3 doors to access them. Please use the final door. Gentlemen will turn right, ladies will turn left. Yes, that's it. Everyone, morning once again. With the energy, it's graduation weekend. Good morning. Just a quick introduction. My name is Maseke Rioba. I will be your program director for the day. I will be giving you tiny instructions as we move along the day. But at this point, I request that we all stand in honor of our chief guest who's just arrived. Karibu sana, Chief Guest Honorable Maraga. Advisory Council members, welcome. Karibuni sana, welcome. May we please have our seats? Honorable Chief Justice David Maraga, it's an honor to have you in this room for the Future Elect East Africa Public Leadership Program graduation. We are humbled that you're here. Advisory Council members, Future Elect staff, as well as fellows and families, welcome. We're just about to begin the program of the day. A quick, not instruction per se, but just a quick note. For anybody who will need to use the ladies' room or the men's room, kindly use the last door. Gentlemen can make your way to the right and ladies to the left. Without further ado, and because time is far much gone, I'd love to have the honor of welcoming the Regional Director, East Africa, Natasha Kimani, to start us off.
Good morning, everybody. Say good morning like you've had breakfast. Good morning. Lovely to see you all. And I hope the Kenyans have recovered from their loss at the AU. And I hope you're feeling much better than you were feeling last night. It is my absolute honor and pleasure to be here with you fellows today. And absolutely excited and honored to have the Honorable Chief Justice, David Maraga, the 14th Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, and as we were discussing earlier, one of our most ethical leaders on the continent. It is also my pleasure to have with us Honorable Malevo, all the way from South Africa. She is one of South Africa's youngest MPs, and the youngest MP of the Action SA party. She's an MP of Limpopo province. I hope I've said that correctly. And she's, most importantly, an alumni of Future Elect in South Africa. I want to welcome our distinguished guests, friends, family. Thank you for being with us today. But most importantly, the most important guest for today, the fellows. Hi. How are you feeling today? Honorable Chief Justice, our organization, as discussed earlier, was founded in 2018 by Honorable Lindiwe Mazibuko in South Africa. This is an organization she often says she founded because she hoped to have a program like this when she was a young MP in Parliament. A program to help guide her, help her understand bureaucracy, the dynamics of governance and politics, and hence she formed this organization. It has been running for 5 years. We actually have the 6th cohort in Southern Africa, the SADC region, and this is the first cohort in East Africa. Honorable Chief Justice, I'm very proud to inform our guests today that of the 18 fellows in our cohort, out of them, 55% of them want to run for political office. And as a proud mother, you'll allow me to mention them and everybody in my program name by name. I will begin with the women because I am biased. We have women from marginalized parts of Kenya. I'll begin with Soila Sankale, all the way from Narok County. She wants to run for women representative in Narok County, all the way from Samburu, doing incredible work fighting against FGM in Samburu and championing for education for women and girls in Samburu, Dr. Josephine Kulea. We have someone she's not running for office, but she's the youngest Secretary General of a political party, the Okweli Party, and she's intentional about getting more women to run for political office. Amisa, coming from the Nubian community, and so I would like to say she's running because she's going to ensure many people are running. Now I'm going all the way to Kakamega County. One of our youngest, if not youngest, contenders for women rep in Kakamega County, Whitney Mwenje. Now I head to Uganda, and 2 of our fellows will be running for local council. Just around the corner, January 2026, we have Mariam from Uganda. Jotham, where are you? Please wave to us. Thank you so much. We also have a lady running for MCA in Kilimani County. Kilimani, is it ward? It's ward. And I have a vested interest because I live in Kilimani, and I'm always tweeting about the many challenges we have, the potholes and etc. She's running for MCA for Kilimani ward. And Honorable Chief Justice, she's a recent convert. She wanted nothing to do with politics. So she's a testament that our program works, and it works well. Now I'll go to the gentlemen who are courageous enough, some to run for a second time around. Daniel Orogo often says his ticket was snatched. His victory was snatched from him. And that is why he's more intentional about running again in 2027. In Kibra constituency. Hiram, where are you? All the way from Murang'a County. Hiram also ran for MCA in Murang'a County, and he's going to be running again. Please wave that we can see you. And I now would like to speak about the young gentlemen who come from, and I don't want to use the word war-torn, because the media likes to use that a lot, but conflict-ridden countries that are struggling to fight for their democracy and who've gone above and beyond themselves to be here with us today. I'll begin with DRC, Eric Kasinga, who also ran for election, local council, and is going to run again. We have a young gentleman called Mohammed, all the way from Sudan, who's currently documenting the human rights challenges and issues affecting Sudan, and he's intent on reshaping the future of Sudan. Mohammed, please stand. Ding Deng, all the way from South Sudan, intentional about shaping a safe and peaceful South Sudan, not just for men, but there's a word he called women. Is it Cheng? Cheng, which means women who are treasured. He taught us about the culture of South Sudan and how women are protected, revered, and honored. And he's out to fight and protect that in South Sudan. We also have a diverse group of people, and those are members of the disciplined forces in Kenya. I'd like to honor them. Inspector Goodwill Omondi. Today I call you Inspector. He doesn't like being called Inspector. And Honorable Chief Justice, what's unique about Goodwill, he's invested in the mental health of police officers. He wants to reduce the suicide rate and alcoholism rate in the police force. And he's about, hopefully in the near future, to open a mental health clinic. So I think that deserves a clap. We also have a constable who's recently completed an assignment in Abu Dhabi, and he's here with us. In fact, it's less than a week ago. Constable, say hello, wave Boaz Wayumba. And all the way from Tanzania, we have young gentlemen, one young, one not so young. We call him Uncle, who work in the community building space. The youngest of them actually instituted an organization called Plan B, intent on focusing on youth empowerment and ensuring young people are able to have agency when they vote, when they build businesses. And this is one of our youngest as well, Bruno, who recently got married as well. The gentleman we call Uncle, the uncle of the program, Ambonisia, who's also a campaign manager focused on campaign elections in Tanzania in October 2025. So he has very many candidates. He refuses to name which the candidates, but we trust their ethical leaders in this journey. And finally, two of our youngest fellows in the program, one who's passionate about public health. In fact, when he speaks and writes about public health, his focus is to ensure Kenya has universal health care, not just in word, but in deed. Derek, hi. And finally, last but not least, we have an entrepreneur on our program. He's passionate about e-mobility. In fact, he's about to purchase his second e-bus, electric bus. He has one electric bus, one of the youngest co-founders in that space, that has been currently ferrying 50,000 Kenyans from Nairobi to Kajiado County, if I'm not wrong. And he's about to purchase his second one. If you want to invest in his company, please stand so they see you. So that Dennis. And that Honorable Chief Justice is a class of 2023-2024. I am beyond proud as your director to have worked with you in this journey, to have seen you thrive. I am now unleashing you to the unsuspecting public, hoping that you will implement everything we have learned in our 7 seminars, hoping you will believe in yourselves even when everything tells you not to, hoping you will believe in the work you have done within and not externally. So today as you graduate, celebrate yourselves and all you have achieved, because you have achieved great things. Honorable Chief Justice, the fellows voted for someone to speak on their behalf. And this fellow is someone they felt represented their values, represented who they are, and where they wanted to go. Soila Sankale is passionate about shaping different conversations around parents who have children living with disability. One of the things she wants to focus on when she gets into Parliament is ensuring that parents with children with disabilities are tax exempt, and mothers have a longer maternity period and longer leave time, so they can spend time with their children. I have no doubt that she will achieve this in 2027. Soila, it is my absolute honor to welcome you on the stage to speak on behalf of your class today. Oh, not
Thank you, Natasha. It's an honor to speak before everybody here today. The Honorable Chief Justice, the 14th Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, Honorable David Maraga, the Advisory Council of Future Elect, the staff of Future Elect, the fellows, our families, and other guests, good morning. I stand before you with pride and humility as a representative of the inaugural cohort of East African Future Elect program. Our 9-month journey has been one of transformation, of growth and discovery, shaping us into a community of passionate and authentic leaders. When we first came together, we had a shared vision to cultivate ethical leaders capable of driving transformative change in East Africa and beyond. The road has been challenging, but rewarding as well. It has been marked by growth, by introspection, and by connection. The Future Elect East African Public Leadership Program didn't just teach us how to lead. It taught us why we lead. And leadership is not about power and position, but service, understanding the needs of others and uplifting them to foster trust, to foster equity and sustainable change. Ethical leadership requires honesty, requires transparency, accountability, that is in government, in business, or civil society. And you've seen a blend of all that in this cohort that we have here today. This program is a call to action. We gain the skills to run for office, as mentioned here by Natasha. We have gained the skills to engage in public service and deeper understanding of leadership. Authentic leadership is not about titles or power, but about integrity, staying true to one's values, and serving selflessly. The most effective leaders understand their values and inner compass in a world that is shaped by external pressures and shifting trends. Staying true to the North Star, our guiding principles, ensures we remain on the right path, and I encourage my peers to embrace vulnerability, to acknowledge their strengths and weaknesses, and to lead with empathy and courage. Leadership is not about perfection, but progress and making a meaningful impact. We have learned from experts, peers, and our own experiences. Every challenge we have faced and every success we have celebrated has shaped us. We have been trained to lead with integrity, empathy, and sense of purpose that extends beyond the present and aims for lasting impact in Africa, East Africa, and beyond. As we reflect on this journey, we extend our heartfelt thanks to those who made it possible, to our dear Lindiwe Mazimbuko. She's the visionary founder of this program. Your leadership and commitment to nurturing authentic African leaders inspire us. You have created a space for us to learn, to grow, and to dream. To our East African team, led by our regional director, Natasha Kimani, Maseke Rioba, and Elma Orogo. We want to say thank you. Your dedication and guidance and belief in our potential. You have been a backbone of this program, ensuring we received a world-class training, inspiration, and support. And this was not possible without our council. Thank you very much. To all our guest speakers, we have had a number of them from different parts of the world, East Africa and beyond. They have imparted knowledge, they have challenged us, and they have pushed us to uphold the highest standards of ethical leadership. To our families here today and at home, to our friends, we want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts. We would not be coming here, we would not be faithful to this program if we didn't have support from our families and friends. Fellows, as we step into the future, we embrace the responsibility ahead. We will lead our communities, our nations, and our continents. Challenges will come, but so will opportunities. For profound change, The lessons we've learned assure us that we are not alone. We have each other and the guiding light of the true north. When I say the true north, I know every fellow knows what I'm talking about. And thank you, Future Elect, for directing us towards our true north. East Africa faces many challenges, but it also holds immense potential. As we leave this fellowship, let us carry the responsibility that comes with knowledge. Let us hold each other accountable and stay true to the values that have shaped us. And yesterday we graduated, and I think today we are graduating to the alumni community. We talked about it yesterday, but today we officially get into the alumni program. The future may be uncertain, but we are prepared to lead with courage, integrity, and unwavering hope. Leadership is not about taking action today. Leadership is about sowing seeds for tomorrow. As we step into the world, let us commit to planting more seeds of ethical leadership, justice, and progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Soila Sankale, for that beautiful speech. I call it a commencement speech. Your graduation is now your time to start. It's not the end. Thank you. Honorable Chief Justice, I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our Advisory Council members and just to highlight the incredible work they have been doing in providing their expertise to us. By virtue of the program being in East Africa, we have representation across the region. I'll just begin from my left side, which will be your right side. We have Madam Emilia Siwingwa from Tanzania. We have Madam Isabella Akiteng from Uganda. Dr. Brenda Ogembo from Kenya. Mr. Frederick Fusi from Tanzania. Mr. G.K. Ndungu from Kenya. And to your left, we have Madam Caroline Gaita, also from Kenya. Honorable Chief Guest, each and every name I have mentioned has given their time. And the reason why that's very significant to us is that I consider them to be very important people. They have expertise from law to public policy to research, and some of them even serve on our Senate. And so by them giving their time constantly to speak to us, to tell us, this might not work, or this can work, or this is how you can, or what you can do to shape the program better, has been insightful. We want to appreciate the fact that it's because of their input that our curriculum has been designed to suit every country that has been represented by our fellows. With that being said, we'd love two representatives to give a speech as we graduate, because of course their expertise has been valuable and we'd love to hear what they have to say. I'd love to welcome the Executive Director, Mzalendo Trust, Madam Caroline Gaita, for her opening remarks. Thank you.
Is the room beautiful or what? You girls and boys, young men and women, you look amazing, and we are looking forward to spending the morning with you. The Chief Justice Emeritus, Honorable David Maraga, Honorable Malebo, all the way from South Africa, my fellow council members drawn from the region, and the distinguished graduating class of 2024. Good morning. I will not spend so much time talking about the leadership and the curriculum because you've heard that for the last 3 days. So allow me to divert a little bit and just take you back a little bit and then take you to the future. So today marks the culmination of what has not only been a fantastic 3 days of learning and relearning, but I have a sense that for many of you, it's been a nostalgic weekend too. It has reminded you that over the last few months, I thought there were 7, but now I understand there were 9. Over 7 seminars, guest lectures, and activities. It wasn't just about the technical aspects of the program and the curriculum that you are taking in. It was also forming bonds of friendships and ties that will hopefully bind over a lifetime of public service. I can imagine at this moment that this weekend, you have looked back at the moment you either saw the advert or somebody sent it to you, and you made the decision to apply, and then made it to the lecture room and met your fellow graduates for the first time. I can only imagine what a journey it has been, and look how far you have come. So congratulations for making it. From your narratives that you were honored to read from the booklet that was shared with us yesterday, you represent the diversity, beauty, and spread of East Africa, bridging the present and the future. This morning, we sent you to be ambassadors of Future Elect in these countries, to put into practice what you have learned. To put into practice what you have learned. You do so at a time when the region and the world in general is facing various challenges, from technology disruptions that we had a lot on Friday, political conflicts, climate change, to far-reaching changing geopolitical dynamics that have an implication on democracy across the globe. It's an uncertain world. But like the young generation at the dawn of independence, for most of the East African countries represented here, you are the ones that now shape how the continent navigates this new phase of global politics and interests. As you go out, I want to challenge you with scripture. Like the master of old in the book of Matthew 14:30, who gave his servants gifts according to his talents, Future Elect has given you gifts, only this time the gifts have been given equally. Use this knowledge, the networks, the partnerships you have gained wisely. Be the light that encourages. Be good stewards of public service, seeking to serve rather than be served, and aiming to multiply the results of what you have learned these past few weeks. Lastly, I would say that you go into a complex and predictable environment. Running for office, as many of you have committed to do, or leading any office for that matter, is not a walk in the park. Many a times, you will need to be pragmatic, putting the needs of the country, community before self. Seek counsel that builds. On Friday, you had the question from the cabinet, the secretary to the cabinet, of who is in your circle. And this will be very important because as you seek to lead an undivided, authentic life that is reflected in your personal lives and in your public life, you will need counsel, circle of friends that keep you in the true north that Soila have so passionately spoken about. Seek counsel that builds rather than destroys. But this does not mean being afraid to make decisions. Indeed, like John Lewis said, get in good trouble, necessary trouble, and redeem the soul of, I paraphrase from America to Africa, redeem the soul of Africa. Africa needs courageous people. Africa needs young people like you who will stand in the gap and say no. And we've seen that happen across the years. So get into good trouble. Don't be good, just be good people who take everything that comes. Our independence, our freedom was not fought on the street of politeness and being afraid. It was fought on the backs of courageous young men and women like yourselves who stood up and stood for their countries. I wish you courage. I wish you resilience, because lots of time you will need it. And I wish you success in all that you now embark on to do. May the books of history for our respective countries record that these young people, these young men and women here, leaders formed and molded for such a time as this, in this hall, were able to rise for Africa when Africa needed them. Thank you and God bless you.
So every time people speak, there's always especially for moderators, there's always the urge to repeat one point that you've had that you're going home with. And so, fellows, don't be afraid to get into. Thank you. Now, I'd like to welcome the man we call future-elect East Africa's godfather, who's a public policy and governance expert. I think there has been no seminar weekend that he has not been in attendance. If anybody has reached out to him, I have not received a complaint from anyone that I reached out to so-and-so and he did not pick up. So Mr. Godfather, G.K. Ndungu, the stage is all yours.
What is beautiful about Africa is celebration is a family affair. So obviously for the graduates, it's obviously understandable. You bring your family. But our leader, Natasha, she's brought her mother. Let's celebrate her. Yeah, in Africa, it's support. Chief Justice Emeritus, Honorable Malebo, my fellow colleagues from the Advisory Council, and our distinguished guests. Good morning. Good morning once again. Today is a perfect day to speak about and reflect on leadership. What is leadership, we may ask? Is it about elective positions? Is it about appointive positions? Is it about top leadership, in private sector, in the development sector, in the public sector? But today morning, what if we viewed leadership as function, which obviously will lead us to look at leadership as servant leadership. And I think this is what this program has been about. The Future Elect Public Leadership Program is about servant leadership. It's been an investment, to democratic ideals, ethical leadership, public policy, but importantly, accountability in public service. Distinguished graduates, the program has been about values, and we've talked about it, and I'm sure you live here, as Soila says, you live with your true north, and I think the true north is packed with values. Yesterday, you were challenged by the Senator, Edwin Sifuna, that if you begin without values, you will never have your north. So what are the principles of servant leadership? I'm sure, the program is what it's been doing for the last, I don't know what number of months, but I have a few principles of servant leadership and values, which is a list to add to. You've been making lists, I'm sure, lists about public policy, lists about governance. So I hope this is the last list. So for me, one is honoring others. The second one is that you inspire a vision in the community, in the society you're serving. is choosing ethics. And the challenge is choosing. You've been challenged by Ms. Gaita. You have to make a choice. If status quo remains, you're not making a choice. Number 4 is empowering others. Number 5, people first. Number 6, serving with humility. And I think today our chief guest is a fantastic example. This is what the program has been all about. So the world today is in pursuit of, inclusive development, and I think Africa, is at the trajectory of, economies are changing. There is climate, change. There are many things. We are at a trajectory of, things are shifting, but that requires leadership. And I remember when younger, I won't say young, because younger, because there are seniors in the room. I remember hearing this thing about the youth is for the future. And I'm like, no, it's now. It's now. The changes we want to see in Africa, from climate change to building strong economies to issues of gender parity, it's on your shoulders. You're the people who need to bring change. And for me, Africa is not looking for change. Africa is looking for transformative change. If we want change, the model for business as usual could bring change. But if we want transformative change, we need courage. Opportunities abound. Rapid urbanization, economic growth, technological advancement, including AI, young population in Africa. I like to say Africa has 2 distinct things. We are the manufacturing plant of the world, if we handle things well, and we are the largest labor market. These are opportunities for Africa. Interconnectivity, in the continent in terms of trade. These things require leadership, and I think this is what the Future Elect Public Leadership Program has been all about. Distinguished guests, are you ready for the world? Are you ready for the world? Transformative change requires courage, as I said. I believe the program has equipped you and you have clearly defined your true north, your values. The good book in Proverbs 11 says, "When the righteous prosper, the city rejoices. When the wicked perish, there are shouts of joy." Let me repeat that. Proverbs 11. When the righteous prosper, the city rejoices. When the wicked perish, there are shouts of joy. I challenge you, the day you will get to leadership, will the city prosper? Because you are in a position of power. I challenge you, as you define your true north, as you move into the world, will your anchor hold? And this is the anchor of values and servant leadership. The lessons that you have learned, will your anchor hold when the storms of life kick in? The last challenge. Do not let success take you to places where character will not sustain you. Congratulations. Enjoy your day.
Thank you so much, GK. When GK was speaking, something really funny came to mind. Allow me to share. So anytime Natasha will tell me to write a report or a document that involved the youth, I'd always have the statement, the youth are the leaders of tomorrow. They are the leaders of the future. And one day she called me and she told me, Maseke, what do you mean the youth are the leaders of tomorrow? You are the leaders of today. So when GK was speaking and he went back to it, I just started laughing because it gets sensationalized so much that we start believing and getting conditioned to wait till tomorrow to lead. Please lead today. I'd like to take this opportunity to invite a very special person to the stage who will also invite our chief guest. Future Elect not only has advisory council members who give us their expertise, but we also have board members who take time out, because I have been present in one of those meetings and it is not easy. They take time out to sit down and ask difficult questions about what the impact of this program will be. One of them is present with us today. Kashed Mox has over 15 years of experience of top-level experience in human resource and operations management. She holds qualifications in human resource management and practical labor law in South Africa and UK. But aside from that, she's also our COO. She takes time to sit back and ask questions about the context of East Africa. What is it that we are not doing right? Or what is it that is acceptable and practical in Southern Africa that we perhaps need to go around in East Africa? Or what's the political context like so that I do not come and address people and end up offending them or end up poking holes in places I shouldn't? As the COO, she has taken extra time to understand our context. And having somebody on your team, especially in management, who takes a minute to sit down and understand where you're coming from is something that we are blessed to have. Kashed, we are grateful for you. This is your opportunity.
Good morning. I'm going to start in a bit of a different order and say, good morning, distinguished fellows. Today you are the most important people in the room to me. To our special guests, welcome Chief Justice Honorable Maraga and also Honorable Malebo. Lovely to have you here. Thank you for gifting us your time. To our East Africa Advisory Council, it was an absolute pleasure spending so much time with you yesterday and learning about the insights and the support that you have given to the East Africa team. To the Fellows family who are present, Natasha's mom, who I've just heard, hello. To the guests that have also joined us, who without their support, our work would not be possible. So to our guests from the Open Society Foundation, the Ford Foundation, and Akina Mamawa Africa, welcome. Thank you again, East Africa Advisory Council members. I would like to take a minute and ask Natasha, Maseke, and Alma to stand and ask you all to give them a round of applause. You know why. Thank you, team. East Africa Fellows, when we start, we easily doubt our ability to lead. But you've already proven that you can overcome some tough challenges. We all started somewhere, having dreams. For me personally, that wasn't really fully fledged in my mind initially, many, many years ago. But I had a desire to achieve, to succeed, and to make a difference in people's lives. Whenever opportunities came, I took them. I felt out of my depth at times. I felt imposter syndrome creep at times. I'm sure you've experienced it. You will continue to experience it. My motivation to make a difference is coupled with, above all, valuing integrity. I believe integrity has led me to many wins, big and small, because the small ones matter too. It gives you that extra push for motivation. So never let anyone stand in your way by often saying no to you or that you can't. To this, I say, always take on the challenge and lean into the saying, feel the fear and do it anyway. Today, we are here to celebrate your achievements and look ahead at the impact you will make in East Africa and beyond. We celebrate not just the completion of a program, but the invaluable skills that you have gained during this journey. Your seminars have been filled with practical activities, guiding you through transforming your public speaking and developing a compelling narrative. You've learned about strategic campaigning, essential for most of you in this room, and the principles of user-centered and evidence-based policymaking. Don't forget the power of negotiation, persuasion, and influence. We know the challenge of the political leadership in East Africa, ranging from high costs of elections and the lack of transparent and ethical fundraising regulations. The barriers to political participation, particularly for youth and women, but how we ensure our voices are heard, youth and women particularly, is by ensuring that you are capable, not just getting there and then being silent, ensuring that you create the space for yourself to constantly build your knowledge, your expertise, and that you own that space and you're seen as a force. We know that because of these and many other personal and professional challenges, that you have built resilience, and it has strengthened your leadership capabilities already. Nelson Mandela said, "Remember, hope is a powerful weapon, even when you feel all is lost," because it's not. So the opportunity lies in you making the transition to public service. You can do many things. You all know what it is. It's why you've signed up for this. Empowering local and national infrastructure and improving it. Education, improving health services, and ultimately enhancing the quality of life for the people you will represent. You will have the platforms to advocate for the needs and the rights of marginalized communities, even ensuring their voices are heard in decision-making processes. You could influence laws and regulations that can lead to systemic change, or promote initiatives that create jobs and attract investment that can drive your economies for growth. By entering public service, you can help shape a better future for your communities and society as a whole. This is, after all, why you are here, why you signed up to this program, making the sacrifices you do, and we know sometimes at personal risk. When you run, it's not just about purpose. It's very important, probably the most important, but also you need a vision and you need a mission, as you've heard several times throughout this journey, including yesterday. And what is so important about that mission is the how. I loved yesterday that Natasha challenged you as you were presenting the impact you want to make for the next 5 years, and she pushed you on the how. That how, when you get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning, you should be able to say to anyone, my why and my how I'm going to do it. not for me, but for those who I represent. You are brave. Many people have spoken about courage, but when I read your stories, there's so many that hits one here because you've already demonstrated that you're brave individuals. Always remember your why. It will keep you strong and accountable. Not sure if you can remember, but back in August, I told you to surround yourselves with individuals, that inner circle, that will keep you accountable. But most of all, be your own chief accountability officer. Your word is your greatest power. When you say something, stick to it. When you make promises, ensure you carry them out. I know in politics that this is sometimes easier said than done because of the constant changing of the political landscape. But if something changes, if you're pushed into a corner and a promise you made, you have to navigate towards a different pathway. Then tell your electorate. Be accountable to them. That's what you're signing up for. Lindiwe Mazibuko could not be here today. She was heartbroken when things changed. You know her story. You are motivated by it. She still lives every day with her why that sits here. She sent you a message. She has said, "Dear East Africa Public Service Fellows, leadership is not about lofty titles or high status. It's about service, courage, and impact. Today, as you graduate from this program, you will step forward into a highly contested but deeply significant political and government space as the next generation of leaders who will challenge the status quo. Your journey in leadership can contribute to building a public service that is rooted in integrity, accountability, and justice. Your journey has been one of learning, growth, and resilience. The challenge ahead, from election campaigns to policy contestations, will be significant, but so is your purpose. Lead with conviction, serve with humility, and never lose sight of the change that you have committed yourselves to creating. Africa needs you. Our future is yours to shape. Congratulations. So fellows, what you've achieved here is just the beginning. Your leadership journey will shape the future of East Africa. So we look forward to seeing your transition into public office. With almost 60% of you running in the next 24 months in your elections, you know that the work starts now. Even if that election is 24 months away, you can't wait. You can't sit back and relax. Get out, make yourselves known, make your purpose and your mission known now to the people who are going to get you there. And when you get there, remember, you serve them. Your network is your net worth. And remember what Senator Edwin Sifuna said yesterday. You don't know who is in the room. You don't know who is listening to you. You don't know who is seeing you. Each moment is an opportunity. You have an alumni network, so ongoing support. Use it. Go out, continue to empower others, lead with integrity, and create lasting change. Thank you for allowing future elect to be part of your journey, and congratulations. I now also have the honor of welcoming formally and introducing the Honorable Chief Justice David Maraga, the 14th Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya. The Honorable Chief Justice David Maraga was born in January 12, 1951 in Nyamira County. He studied law at the University of Nairobi, earning a Bachelor of Law in 1977 and a Master of Law in 2011. He also holds a postgraduate diploma awarded by the Kenya School of Law. He was admitted to the Kenya Bar in October 1978. Justice Maraga is a seasoned lawyer and jurist. He was the 14th Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court of Kenya from October 2016 until his retirement in January 2021. Prior to his judgeship, he ran as a private law practice for over 25 years in Nakuru, specializing in civil and criminal litigation and conveyancing. During this time, he also served from 1987 to 1989 as the chairperson of the Rift Valley Law Society. Justice Maraga joined the bench as a High Court judge in October 2003 after his appointment by President Mwai Kibaki. Subsequently, he served as the judge of the High Court in Mombasa from 2003 to 2007, in Nakuru from 2008 to 2010, and in Nairobi from 2010 to 2011. He also served in various leadership roles, including as the resident judge at the High Court of Kenya in Nakuru from May 2009 to August 2010, and as the presiding judge of the Family Division of the High Court in Nairobi from April 2010 to January 2011. Justice Maraga served in the Court of Appeal in Nairobi from January 2012 to September 2014, and as the presiding judge of the Court of Appeal in Kisumu from October 2014 until he later became the Chief Justice after a rigorous vetting process by the Judicial Social Commission and National Assembly. This before his confirmation by President Uhuru Kenyatta in October 2016. He was the second Chief Justice under Kenya's constitutional dispensation. Chief Justice Maraga, it's an honor to have you here today. Thank you for gifting all of our fellows of your time. Welcome to the East Africa Public Leadership Program graduation.
Yeah, fine. So, what's the word? So the Emeritus Chief Justice, Honorable Justice David Maraga, I guess he, probably in my speech, I triggered something, and then he wants us to sing a song, and of course now the phone has gone. And I don't have his face. It's Willianka Hold. If I can have my phone, Dr. Gembo. Sorry? So I guess importantly for us is to know the chorus. So the one that goes, we have an anchor that keeps the soul steadfast and sure while the billows roll, fastened to the rock which cannot move, grounded firm and deep in the Savior's love. So we'll do the first stanza. Will your anchor hold in the storms of life when the clouds unfold their wings of strife? When the strong tides lift and the cables strain, will your anchor drift or firm remain? We have an anchor that keeps the soul steadfast and sure while the billows roll, fastened to the rock which cannot move, grounded firm and deep in the Savior's love. Let me go to stanza 5. When our eyes behold in the dawning light, shining gates of pearl, our harbor bright, we shall anchor fast to the heavenly shore, with the storms all pass forevermore. We have an anchor that keeps the soul steadfast and sure while the billows roll, fastened to the rock which cannot move, grounded firm and deep in the Savior's love.
Thank you very much, my brother. Sorry I ambushed you. Please sit down. Let me start before I even speak. Let me make a small disclaimer. My mother, they are translated. Don't have a name, don't have a day, don't even have a key. So if you share with me, if we get out there and you introduce to me and I say, my pleasure to meet you. Please understand where I'm coming from. The Honorable Malebo, Member of Parliament, Council members, graduating class of this distinguished institution, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you, Madam Mox, for that introduction and the kind words about me, and Natasha for the invitation to come and be with these lovely young people. I'm delighted to join you at this graduation ceremony of the inaugural cohort of the Public Service Fellows. I made note of that, Public Service Fellows. At the outset, I wish to take this opportunity to join others who have already congratulated you for the success that you have achieved. I want to commend FutureAct for this great initiative, and especially the founder. Madam, please take our best wishes to her for this wonderful and unique initiative to invest in Africa's governance and leadership. This is indeed a noble cause, especially as the youth account for 65% of the African population. As the saying goes, a country is as good as its leadership. Transforming Africa, therefore, requires nurturing youth leadership and developing a generation of leaders in the public service, the private sector, and in politics. I note that the graduates for this East African Leadership Program are drawn from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, South Sudan, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and there are plans to include participants from Somalia, Ethiopia, Rwanda in future trainings. This is indeed a Pan-African initiative, and I want to congratulate the leadership of Future Elect. Africa is changing, and Africa's youth are leading the way. Technology has opened opportunities for young people to connect across borders, innovate, and organize for political change. This training, therefore, comes at an opportune time as Africa's youth chart the path to prosperity and peace. I hope that the program has given you the tools to confront the ever-increasing and daunting challenges in governance and leadership in Africa and beyond. The call to public service is a noble one. It is a call to serve people. It's a call to serve people, to serve in public service. Despite what seems like a good year of democracy, just forgive me, I think I noticed that my gadget Yes. You know, those of us who are not technology savvy, you will forgive us. The call to public service is a noble one. It is a call to serve the people, but many turn public positions to their personal benefits. That's why many African countries have constitutions without constitutionalism. What that means, for those who are not lawyers, is that you have a very good constitution, but it gathers dust on the shelves. It is never implemented. That's why a number of African leaders seek to elongate their terms. That's why, despite numerous natural resources, Africa is the poorest continent. That's why in Africa, elections are facades for regime change. That's why democracy is facing serious challenges in Africa. Despite what seems like a good year for democracy, what is emerging as a worrying trend is that overall, there has been a decline in participatory politics, with fewer citizens showing up to vote or engaging in electoral processes. Studies and analysis have shown that fewer and fewer people are showing up to participate in elections, and you know this has an overall weakening of the social contract between the state and its citizens who provide them with the legitimacy to govern. By all standards, this should be a matter of great concern to all of us. What does it mean for democracy when citizens lose trust in political processes and therefore opt out? It means something else fills the void left by lack of citizen participation. Sometimes it is a political cartel, or a dictatorship, or a military junta. Furthermore, despite the continent's highly educated youthful population, it is typical across the region that people under the age of 35 are rarely found in formal political leadership positions. The youth are not represented adequately in formal political institutions and processes such as parliament, political parties, electoral institutions, and public administration. The situation is even more difficult for both young women as well as women at the middle level and decision-making leadership positions. I am happy to note that you have taken, I believe, a deliberate act to bring more women to this program than there are men. There's nothing wrong about that. To a large extent, this apathy is due to the mediocre or corrupt candidates who offer themselves for election, and the poor election management that leaves many, especially the youth, to conclude that their votes will not count. I have no doubt that this and other similar programs aimed at equipping the youth for competent and visionary leadership will make a critical change and attract youths to participate in governance of their countries. To respond to the youth's needs and guarantee their basic human rights are recognized and enforced, young people's active and meaningful participation in their societies and democratic practices and processes is of critical importance. Meaningful youth participation and leadership require the young people to have opportunities, capacities, and benefit from the enabling environment and relevant evidence-based programs and policies at all levels. The lack of meaningful youth engagement in Africa undermines young people and the continent's potential. The exclusion of young people has disastrous consequences, threatening political stability, economic development, and social cohesion. As witnessed in Kenya's recent youth protests, Africa's young people want their fresh ideas, creativity, and optimism to be utilized in driving change, and for their grievances to be considered during the policy making and implementation. In this regard, we must address the trust factor. Although young people in Africa today are exceptionally engaged in social platforms, their faith in politics and public sector leadership is eroding. A growing up of distrust between citizens and political elites gives rise to populism and polarization, which undermine our ability to find solutions to the significant challenges facing society today. This must be resorted so that the older and the younger generations can work towards building countries that work for all. In addition, decades of kleptocracy and autocratic leadership have rendered politics and government in Africa as bywords for corruption, inefficiency, and inadequate material and service delivery to the people. Rising corruption in local government, poor quality elections, impunity for law breakers, and a lack of presidential accountability all work to undermine the popular support for democracy in our countries. These problems have, over time, led to a lack of trust in the electoral process in most places, the result of which increasingly is increasingly showing lower voter turnout and in turn further apathy. We must review these labels as Africans, being seen as politically indisciplined and incapable of running our affairs efficiently. We have forgotten that we are the continent of wise elders and brave youth. Africa provides the world with the most used proverbs and wise sayings. Our philosophies have traveled through history and shaped the world, but we have forgotten this. Please go out and teach this. We cannot settle for less than the greatness that we are capable of. The demanding work of countering political failings, nurturing democracy, and strengthening integrity and accountability, curbing impunity and ensuring the quality of elections should be a priority for African governments and for all of us. Often, politicians and public servants are unprepared for public office, and their decisions will affect them personally and their country's socio-economic development. You must have seen this. Members of parliament going to parliament totally unprepared, and at a whim, standing up to speak to issues they least understand. Not because they are not learned, not because they are not capable, but because for other considerations, they don't prepare. And as a result, you know that what kind of leadership or what kind of policies come from that kind of situation. Often politicians and public servants are unprepared, as I've said, and what happens is that they perform poorly. That's why programs like this one by Futurist are important, because there is a huge knowledge gap that needs to be filled. It is my hope that the fellows graduating today will be part of the change that the continent needs and will prepare for their leadership after elections, and not just focus on political campaigns, but the future leadership that they will be involved in. If you run for political office and win, how will you ensure that you keep the promises you made on the campaign trail? How will you ensure that you respect independent political offices and adhere to the rule of law? These are important questions that we should all ponder about, and especially to the young generation that is poised to take the mantle of leadership and shape the destiny of their region and beyond. You're a very fortunate lot, I would say. Go out there and lead with integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, one professor I have a lot of respect for said that we Kenyans, and foreigners, you may even shut your ears to this, we are very good at articulating points. We are very good at coming up with very, very nice speeches. Come to implementation. We rank very lowly. We rank very lowly. My advice to you, young people, this country requires people who can go out there and stand up to be counted. Stand up to be counted. Very many times we fear those in authority that are going to create problems for us. Sure enough, I'm not trying to undermine that. That can happen. But who told you that when you stand up, you will not shake them? You will not shake them. One thing I can tell you is that when you stand up on your principles, those you work with, some of them may not like you, but they will respect you. They will respect you. That I can tell you from personal experience. I had problems with the leadership of the country, but I said no where I needed to say no. They didn't like me. And by virtue of the position I occupied, there is nothing they could do. Because I had security of tenure. Are you seeing that? There's not much they could do. They had to bear with me. So, you may not be able, you may not occupy the same position I occupied. That does not mean that you become a coward. I have always told young people whenever I speak to them, and let me quote from one writer here, the Lord is disappointed when his people place a low estimate upon themselves. He desires his chosen heritage to value themselves according to the price he has placed upon them. God wanted them, else he would not have sent his son to die on the cross for them. For those who are not Christians, please bear with us. The Lord is disappointed when we don't understand what we have. When we don't understand the power that we possess when we occupy some of those positions and stand up and say no when the things are not working right. You are young people, some are in employment, some are going to employment, and I appreciate the fact that at the end of the day, you need to put bread on the table for your family. I appreciate that you have to take children to school. In other words, it is something very, very challenging when it comes to thinking about your employment and your positions. Let me remind you one other thing. One writer said, we distrust God. I'm sorry for those who are not Christians in this group. Please bear with me. Our Heavenly Father has 1,000 ways to provide for us, of which we know nothing about. Those who accept the one principle of making the service of God supreme will find perplexities vanish and a plain path before their feet. The service you are going to render, is service to God. When you stand up to get things to be done right, when you stand up and say, no, we cannot afford to engage in this kind of corruption, who are you serving? In Kenya, we say you are serving Wanjiku. Wanjiku is the ordinary person on the street who does not even understand what is happening around, but yet cannot earn a decent living because of the way we are conducting our affairs. I want to urge you young people to go out there and be courageous and stand up against the evils in our society. Against the evils in our society. Somebody said here that you should be able to lead today, not wait until tomorrow. When the opportunity avails, stand up and do what is right. Stand up and do what's right. Those who believe in God, God will provide for you. You have gone to school and you've been educated well. Be proud of what you are. Be proud of the achievements you have had. You have been in this institution which has taught you values, which has taught you that service is not holding positions and you steal from people. It is having the values that you stand for and advocate them. So I want to urge you to go out there and stand up to be counted. There's one time I was speaking to a group of young people. That clip went viral. The last time it was shown to me, I was very surprised. I was in a conference in Livingston. Not Livingston. What is the city across? Fig Falls. Fig Falls. And it was shown to me. What I told those young people is that when you accept a bribe, you have literally been bought. Are you seeing that? The person who has given you a bribe is like he owns you. He wants you to do what he wants from you. Is that the value you place upon yourself? Is that the value you place upon yourself? I have friends, some were my classmates, others were people I associated with. People who have a lot of wealth. A lot of wealth. Some of them, when I look at myself and I say, look, what am I doing wrong? Why am I not like them? But knowing who they are and what they do, I remember what the Bible says. Don't envy who? The wicked. And what have I seen from those? And these are practical experiences I've seen. Those people are miserable. They can wear a face. That's all meant for the public. But inside themselves, they are miserable. Is that the kind of life you want to lead? The Bible asks us, what does it benefit a man to own the whole world and lose his own soul? I don't want you to lose your souls. Go out there and serve, and we will be there to support you and help you to come along. May God bless you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Justice. And for those who didn't go to church today, you have gone to church. So turn to your neighbor and say, Amen. Amen. Thank you so much, Honorable Chief Justice. Honorable Chief Justice, one of the things we started in the cohort is an award process from the fellows to themselves. And we challenged them to identify, 1, a good governance champion, 2, the most collaborative fellow in the program, 3, the greatest cheerleader, and finally, the most transformed fellow. So I would like to hand over the words and request your Honorable Chief Justice to please give us the honor of being the one to hand them their awards. Here in the middle. So I will begin with the most collaborative fellow. Hiram, please come. And I'd like to say that every single time we give the fellows a challenge, Hiram would go out of his way to ensure his colleagues completed and thrived. At Future Elect, we call him the finisher because he ensures everyone crosses the finish line. Second is cheerleader, the person who lifts people's spirits up when they are down, the person who encourages when they are low, not just friends, but the entire cohort. Cynthia, come up on stage. Cynthia is a communication expert by day and political connoisseur by night. She works for Hot 96 Radio and has been incredible in the program, assisting fellows with their communications strategy. Third, we now have our most transformed fellow. And the criteria here was a fellow who has gone through the 7 seminars, was basically now a butterfly. And this award goes to Bruno. Bruno, all the way from Tanzania. Honorable Chief Justice and guests, when Bruno joined the program, he never spoke. He never said a single word. At the end of the program, our inspector, hopefully soon Inspector General, refers to him as president of the class. And finally, because this is a good governance program, it is important to have someone we believe will champion for justice and change. Without a doubt, it was unanimous. This vote goes to Mohammed. Mohammed is from Sudan. And I'd just like to say that when we were doing our assessment of the program, Mohammed missed his flight. He is from Sudan but lives in Kigali, and he took a bus all the way from Kigali to come to Nairobi for this program. Mohammed has suffered a lot during the program, struggled because he's fighting for a better country, for himself and for others. So thank you, Mohammed, and congratulations. Finally, Honorable Chief Justice, I'm sorry we have to bring you back. We are now at the stage of the program where we hand you your certificates, where we say you have done well. And since the theme is Christianity, I am also a Christian, Chief Justice. And as the Bible says, good and faithful servant. So I will request my colleagues to help me with the certificates. I will name them one by one. You will come up on stage, and the Honorable Chief Justice will grant you your certificate. Thank you so much. I see our council members are coming up. Oh, thank you. Actually, thank you. This is why they are on the council, servant leaders. And I would just like to say, if you'll allow me, Honorable Chief Justice, the fellows embarked on a very difficult but fruitful journey of writing out their plans for their individual countries. In here, and we will hand you a copy, and we have acknowledged you as a friend of the program in the journal. In here is individual stories of what they plan and hope to achieve. So this is a way of bribing them to stick to the truth and saying, this is what you said, and we hope you stick to the plan. And this is the first time they are seeing the final copies. So I would like to say, fellows, welcome to the other side. Congratulations.
Fellows, can we kindly make way? Starting us off, Alinaitwe Jotham. Ambonisi Haule, Tanzania. Amisa Rashid Ahmed from Kenya. Constable Boaz Brian Nwayumba. Bruno Victory Bruno from Tanzania. Cynthia Mwangi. Daniel Orogo from Kenya. Dr. Mwenda Bundi from Kenya. Ding Deng Mo from South Sudan. Dr. Josephine Kulea from Kenya. Eric Kasinga from DRC. Inspector Goodwill Omondi Ngongo from Kenya. Hiram Tume Kimoto from Kenya. Juliet Soila Sankale, Kenya. Kirera Dennis Mushoki, Kenya. Mohammed Ismail Etlahil Bera from Sudan. Namugalu Mariam from Uganda. And last but not least, Dr. Whitney Mwenje from Kenya.
Great. I didn't know about this future elect. Can I recommend some? When are you starting your next cohort? I'm serious. In October. I will give you a few names.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Honorable Chief Justice, as we begin to wind up, we would like to request the honor of you officially cutting the cake. And we hope you like some sugar, just a little. We are conscious. And we request that two fellows join us on stage. Amisa, please join us. Ding Deng from South Sudan, please join us as we cut and usher you into the world officially. Thank you. So due to austerity measures, we don't have any glasses for you to toast. So when I say stand and celebrate the fellows, just raise your hands up as Africans and imagine that you're toasting. So can we all stand to congratulate and officially welcome Future Elect East Africa into Future Elect alumni? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We promise that everyone will get a piece. We are now. So, Chief Justice, we have a little gift for you, and we promise that you don't need to declare it. It's below the declaration threshold. I'd like to call on Isabella Akiteng to assist us with giving our gift to the Chief Justice. Honorable Chief Justice, please welcome.
Good afternoon to you all. It's still morning, right? Good morning. To the Honorable Chief Justice, thank you very much for honoring our invitation. I love telling stories, and when I was invited, I was telling my neighbor a story. And I was telling her especially about one of our fellows who took a bus. And when he arrived, we had actually closed the application. And he arrived and he said, I have taken the bus. And interestingly, I was at the airport with him the day before, but because of Kenya's immigration situation, he couldn't come in. He needed a visa. And part of the beauty of today's graduation is that for each of us who are at that pre-selection seminar, we can watch the transformation, we can watch the stories, but we can also see, how should I say it? The continuity, but also the steadfastness, because what people aspired to at that pre-selection interview is what they stand for today, but with better understanding, with a more united, pact of I'm working with a colleague from across the country. And even as they get into the alumni, like everyone has said, there is no better person to have ushered them into the next season of their life but you. We spent time with you. You are an extremely humble person. But God knows that we do not boast when we say that you are the perfect person to be guest of honor today. And like Natasha, I am a Christian. And I know that in the Bible they talk about the oil that flowed from Aaron's beard onto the priests who sat at his feet. Fellows, if you do not know that portion of scripture, you are blessed that the person whose oil has poured on you today is the Honorable Chief Justice. And I am equally blessed to share in this blessing and to say a big thank you from Future Elect, the council, the fellows, the secretariat, the South Africa team, thank you. Thank you for sparing time, and God bless you abundantly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of our program, and I have been tasked with a vote of thanks. If I forget you, it is not because we have issues or I have beef with you. Blame it on nerves. I'd like to begin with our CEO and founder, Lindiwe Mazibuko, who had a dream that a younger her could have benefited from this. And even if a younger her didn't benefit from this, other younger Africans are. Thank you, Lindiwe, for trusting me with East Africa. She lets me run with East Africa. She believes in me, and she has inspired us greatly. I would like to move a bit closer and request for my team to come on stage. I have a very small team in East Africa. And it may look like magic, but there's a lot of work that goes into making days like this successful. So I'd like to tell them thank you in front of everybody for their sacrifice, their patience, their courage. And when you work with young people, they never hesitate to give you feedback, and their feedback. I'm grateful to lead you and to learn from you. Thank you for taking a chance on me. I want to thank the larger Future Elect organization. Our CEO is here. As Maseke mentioned, Kashid takes time to ask me to get on a call to understand East Africa. When you have a boss like that, you're able to think and color outside the lines and imagine a different type of world. Kashid, thank you for always doing that for us. My colleague Tozama, who now I have handed the fellows over to, has been very instrumental in every single seminar, working with us, helping us understand the South African context and giving us room to implement it the East African way. Thank you, Tozama, for the assistance you've given us in East Africa. To our families and friends, mine in particular, as mentioned, my mother is here. So is my sister. My sister is at the corner, and my other sister who is there. And my friends are here for the support they've given me throughout this program, the support you've given my fellows through this program. They wouldn't be here without your support. Please do not give up. Being a spouse of a politician is not easy. I pray for you. I pray that you have grace to navigate what lies ahead. But I am more than confident that you will thrive. Thank you for being there. I want to thank, in particular, the Advisory Council. Each and every one of them did not hesitate to support me in this journey. Most of them didn't even know what they were getting into. I think if they did, they would have said no, but I don't think so. I want to thank them individually. Caroline, especially last year, when we were getting through the challenges of governance, worked with me every single day to ensure that we were safe and we were steady as an organization. GK, the godfather, we have a godfather and godmother in the council. Both GK and Isabella have been instrumental in guiding us as an organization, and not just us, the fellows. The fellows love them and are always asking us where their godparents are. So thank you for that. Dr. Brenda Ogembo, our technical expert in Parliament, every single parliamentarian that has come here has come because of Dr. Ogembo, and we thank you for that. We thank you for the support you've given us. Amelia, thank you for the... Amelia asks us questions that make us go back to the drawing board and think. Think about the decisions we've made. Think about the direction we want to go, and it helps you prepare better. Every time I see an email from Amelia, I don't open it. I say, I'm going to open it when I'm able to engage in a manner that is deserving. of their time she takes. And thank you, Emilia, for that, for the support you give us. Fusi is never hesitant, all the way from Tanzania, to give us his contacts. We have other council members who are not here today. I just want to say a personal thank you for the commitment they've given, not just to me, but to my team. In fact, my team reaches out to them directly without my knowledge, and thank you for that guidance. I want to conclude with you, fellows. We've spoken, we've hugged it out, we've loved on one another. I want to conclude and say, you have what it takes. You don't need to take another course. You don't need to do another thing. You are capable. You have what it takes. I believe in you. So, first of all, I want you to thank who? So thank yourselves. You have done well. You have done well, you have finished and fought the good fight. So well done, congratulations. And I want to thank, lastly and finally, the Honorable Chief Justice. We spent hours, in fact months, trying to figure out who our guest would be. It is very difficult to get, please don't record me, but an ethical leader in some circumstances. So you can't claim to be an ethical organization and get people who have questionable character. Honorable Chief Justice, your name came up repeatedly because we believe in you and the journey you have set before us. And I speak not just as a regional director of Future Elect, but a lawyer, an advocate of the Supreme Court of Kenya, who is very grateful that we once had a Chief Justice like yourself. Thank you for taking the time out. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to eat cake and there is food. We promise we are going to feed you. Please allow us to take some official photographs, if that is okay. One with the Chief Justice, and then you are free to take as many pictures as you want and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. From me, my team, and everybody else, asanteni sana. Have a lovely afternoon.
I think the second best thing Gen Zs like after candid conversations is photo sessions. So this is why I'm here, just to direct you on how we are going to move. I'd like to request the fellows, in the same order that you came for your certificates, please let's make our way to the front, just behind the backdrop. And then I will request for 5 seats to be placed at the front, with the center being reserved for the Chief Justice. And then we can have the official photo. After that, you will be free to take your own photos. Thank you. Fellows, please.
7 seminars. It helps the fellows unpack their individual inner journey and helps guide them. And we have our pastoral coach with us today. I'd really like her to stand, Diana Ochola, who is an integral member and, as an aside, an Adventist as well. And we are very excited to have her with us in this journey. Please welcome Chief Justice. Council members, please. Yeah, Advisory Council, please come.
May I quickly have the fellows on the side, please? Fellows on the side. Yes. Advisory Council, please remain. I think. They wanted to do advisory. But I don't know. They want to stand. Okay, then let's get started. Please. Fellows, kindly help me move the photos so that we can stand. Oh, the chairs. Yes, yes. Just for the advisory first, then we join. Elma, please come forward. the guest of honor, Chief Justice Maraga, to the holding room. Thank you. Fellows, just a few logistical announcements for the fellows. A few logistical announcements for the fellows. One, the photo session can proceed for as long as you wish. We have concluded the program, so you are free to take as many photos as you want. Angel is handing out lunch vouchers, but for the team and your families, there's more than enough to go around. So if you need an extra card or 2 or 3 or 4, they're available. Finally, fellows, this one is very important. I will be sharing a link with you today that I request you to fill. It's the form with which you will join the alumni community. If you don't fill it, please don't blame me. And you only have 5 days, so please take advantage of next week from Monday to Friday to think through and respond to the questions on the form. After that, the alumni team or committee will reach out to you. With that being said, it was a pleasure hosting you today. Have a lovely afternoon and go ye forth and lead. Lunch is happening.